French Foreign Legion mountain training. The regiment I went to was 2e Reg. People that have been asking. 2e Régiment Étranger du Génie. Technically an engineering regiment. And as I had stated in a previous video, I was directed there by Legion leadership during my selection process because there's a group there called Group Commando Montagne. Now, also in previous video, I discussed in the failure video, man, I failed the selection for that. And I'll get into the specifics of that in another video, how that kind of went down. Well, it was just the run times, man. I was just running those run times, man. That 8 kilometer is fast at elevation. And man, it was just too fast for me, right? 37 years old. I also needed a contract extension to actually go there, but I was invited there, didn't pass the initial screener, and well, guess I was still at the mountain regiment. And I had been there for 3 years before I had started that selection process. Now, let me tell you, I don't particularly like the mountains, so I don't know why I had requested that, but I figured it'd be a challenge, something I hadn't done. Now, let me tell you, there's some pluses and minuses in the French Foreign Legion for sure. Let me tell you though, their mountain training is no joke. They are not fucking around, and some of those guys are straight billy goats. Anybody that knows about France, well, the French are pretty damn decent alpinists. They're good in the Alpines, and they got the French Alps there. Mont Blanc is about 4,000 meters, right? It's not little mountains. Showing up there, there's, at the mountain regiment specifically, right? The actual regiment's in St. Crystal, so it's not in the mountains, but it's pretty isolated, and it does get cold, and it's like apocalypse winter during the winter time. But the training actually is specifically on the Italian border, right? And that Alps region between France and Italy. And there's a small outpost there. That's the French Foreign Legions. And also some of the French, the Alpine hunters, they call them, also use this little outpost. There's a summer block and a winter block, right? For the initial, the FAMs. There's also much more advanced as you keep going, that you can, as you stay in the French Foreign Legion in the mountain specific realm, you're going to keep climbing as you're in leadership positions, and also just aptitude. When I first showed up, our first block was the summer. And even in the summer times in those Alps regions, you're still putting crampons on. You're still doing all this shit. Man, the first block we had done, first of all, I failed it. Straight up. Previous Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL, I failed that initial block. And about 25% of the guys did. There's a run up to the peak of a mountain, and it's a 4-hour time. And it's no shit, you're running with a ruck, gun, full kit, full loadout. You're doing a crampon change out, and then going higher before you're coming back down. And I just didn't hit the cutoff time on the way up. And then you're running down, and that was just not fucking happening. Challenging, to say the least. Now, on that same training block, on the last evolution, we're doing some rappelling. It's serious. There was a kid from Africa, and he had rappelled off the rope, and then he was turning, and it was still steep, but he was off the rope. And he just started to it was literally the last evolution, and he started to run. And man, he clipped up, I think he was from Chad, I want to say, but big kid, big athletic dude, had been crushing the training. And man, on this last block, 5 minutes from being secured, he was jogging down and he tripped and he started rolling, and we watched this guy and he hit the rocks, man, and compound fractured his femur. They had to get life flighted out. I saw 2 life flights just in that cell, that month-long cell. On my first trip up there, I was like, damn, these guys are getting after it. Now, there's a winter block too. Winters, I mean, you're putting seal skins on the bottom of your skis and you're walking up the mountain every day. Hilarious as shit. The dudes from Tahiti and all that, their first time ever seeing snow. Now they're strapping skis on. Let me tell you, in the French Foreign Legion, they're like, hey, slap you on the ass, get out there and be somebody, and they're sending you down the fucking hill. It's a way to learn skiing, I'll tell you that. And it is funny as shit, man. People eating shit and not much instruction. But funny. I'm a decent skier. I kind of grew up, not crazy good, but I'm good enough. So I was put in some advanced levels, and so those winter evolutions were not bad. We're also going up to the top. We're sleeping in igloos and all that shit. Now in the image kind of before this, you'll see me kind of strapped up. That's how we're getting down. Right? I have the HK 416 lots, the skis in the back, and that's how we're kind of getting around when we're climbing and doing all that shit. Pretty cool, actually, because they go up to these refuges. There's these small, I guess, like chalets, for lack of a better word, that are way up in the mountains. And there's like families that'll run it. And there's very few moments in the French Foreign Legion that are chill. One of the cool moments is when you get up to these chalets, the officers are a little more mellow. The non-commissioned officers are more mellow. I mean, it's still tense, but they'll let you drink some wine, kind of chill out. You eat some food. You're kind of left to your own devices, but you know, you're up early and you're strapping up and you're go out in the cold and you're Charlie Mike up to the top of the mountain again. And man, you'll see. I'll put a little quick clip at the end of this video, and you'll see one of my homies from Norway kind of coming in. Nielsen, what's up, dude? A little shout out. Kind of coming in. And you'll see it's some intense shit up there, man. That weather comes in fast. It's no joke. I mean, if you lose a glove or something like that up there, shit can get very serious. That mountain training is no joke. Now, how much combat and shit is going on in the mountains these days? Not much, right? I mean, it's difficult to maneuver. It's an extremely challenging environment. Climbing, rappelling, with all that gear. But it needs to be done, right? You got to have the capability to get up there, to defend positions, take that high ground, secure the mountain, right? Secure your country. You got to be able to secure all areas. So it's important. And my last evolution in all of the French Foreign Legion, I was at a team lead course wintertime, right? I had been selected, I had gotten enough rank, and now they selected me to go to the team lead course. The times are faster, right? You're doing serious tests for speed with the skis on, the sealskins, marching with weight, and a lot of it's technique, right? Being able to navigate up very steep faces with skis on, turn. There's a lot of technical aptitude required in the mountains. The French Foreign Legion mountain training is no joke. Now, there's 2, and that's that kind of picture you've seen. If anybody see me in my kepi, that uniform, there's a bird. Now, it's kind of like a bronze-looking bird. That's the mountain pin, right? And, there's a star on it if you're a team lead and all this shit, but that's the mountain pin over winter and summer. And there's also a mountain specialty unit that earns that same pin through that training, right? At TCAV Rep, at the parachute regiment. There's a company that is mountain specific. So they'll get a parachute and also the mountain. So that's pretty fucking cool. Hard as shit. That company also has a super gnarly reputation for for being hardcore, man. Hazing, fucking just press down on their new guys. Super, super tough. So guys that make it through that, it's impressive. French Foreign Legion mountain training at Ducey Jenny was tough. That's definitely, those officers there are serious about that mountain training. Just the year before I was there, 6 guys died in an avalanche at my company. And while I was there, a very respected officer died also. Rocks collapsing. What's going on up there is serious training. You're at very high altitudes. You got to take shit very seriously. Your gear's got to be locked on. You got to be so aware of your environment. But cool, right? We'd have moments where we'd sleep in igloos with like 30, 40 guys, man, underneath the snow where it can get to 0 degrees Celsius. So it's bearable. When you're above at night, anybody that's been at serious altitude, it will get 20, 30 below Celsius. Very, very quickly, very easily, with wind chill factor added to that. So there's no way you're going to be sleeping up top with any type of comfort, and definitely not security, right? And in those igloos, you're going to have security up at the front of the hole, and there's another hole, and there's a long corridor in between, and all the way down, there's these little dugouts dug, and 2 or 3 guys will sleep, kind of like sardines in a can, and it's difficult to maneuver. Maybe on a different video, I'll show some clips of that. Well, we're actually getting into kind of the igloos and stuff. I have some longer form videos where we actually show how you actually construct that shit and what that actually looks like inside. So that'll come on a future video. Anybody that's curious about the French Foreign Legion, especially about the mountain, get ready. You better be a billy goat. Just look at me. I'm not built like a billy goat. It's best to be light is right up there. You want to be lean and mean. Any kind of bulk, any kind of muscle, you're just going to suck up that oxygen. It's tough. And it's not even cardio. It's just literal oxygen and force. You got to be real light on your feet. Not to mention just your knees and the rocks and all that shit, man. Great experience. Had some unbelievable moments. Skiing with the homies, right? Everybody's splayed out, maybe skiing over a frozen lake. Right? Very few moments in the French Foreign Legion are mellow and chill. But when they do come, they're pretty fucking epic. Pretty epic experience being at the Mountain Regiment at the French Foreign Legion. Once again, I thank y'all for your support here, and we're gonna keep this shit rocking. Be smart out here.